Hello, welcome to XCOM Chess. In this video lesson, I'm going to be showing a historic game that was played between Paul and Morphy as the white pieces, and as the black pieces, the Duke of Brunswick and Count Isourd were consulting together. This is one of my favorite games because it's really entertaining for me, and it also has a lot of instructional value. So, Paul and Morphy starts off with pawn to e4. Occupying e4 and controlling d5 with his pawn. And this move also lets out his bishop and queen by opening diagonals for them to move on. And the players consulted together for black and played e5 back. Now knight to f3 was played, attacking the pawn that's undefended on e5. And d6 was played to defend the pawn. This move is acceptable to play. In my opinion, it's a little bit passive though, because it does block in this bishop's diagonal. And also it will allow white to get a more aggressive standpoint in the center. And so here d4 was played. Now bishop to g4 to pin the knight. This move is a slight inaccuracy though, in my view, because it allows a opportunity for a tactic after the pawn on d4 captures the pawn on e5. Because if the black players aren't focusing, they could fall into just recapturing. Then after queen takes queen, king takes queen, knight takes e5, and now black's down a pawn for nothing. So the players using the black pieces didn't do this. They were smart enough to avoid that. So if we go back, the move that was really played was bishop takes knight, and then Morphy captures the bishop on f3. And this is already becoming better for white, because now white has the bishop pair, and with an open center like it is right now, two bishops are usually better for the person that has them than the person that only has one bishop. And so now the Duke and the Count capture, and then Morphy develops his bishop to c4. And whenever you can develop a piece with a threat, it's usually a good idea. And with this bishop being put on c4, now two pieces are attacking f7, and so Morphy's threatening checkmate. So now, to avoid being checkmated, usually avoiding checkmate's a good idea, knight to f6 is played. Now it blocks this file so that the queen is no longer threatening the f7 square. But now queen to b3 is played, and now the queen and bishop are charging each other up, and they form a battery which strikes at f7. In addition, the queen is also attacking b7, threatening that pawn. Now to defend the threat against f7, queen to e7 is played. This move isn't exactly a very good move, as it blocks in this bishop, but it's kind of necessary to prevent bishop takes f7 check. Because if we go back a move, say black goes ahead and defends this pawn, now the thing you're dealing with is bishop takes f7, check, then no matter where the king moves, either to d7 or e7, then checkmate. Be good to avoid that, so that's why queen to e7 was played defending f7. So now here, Morphy can just go ahead and take this b7 pawn and then be up a pawn. But Morphy realizes that development is more important here, and so he goes ahead and plays knight to c3, getting out another piece. So now c6, so that the queen defends b7 laterally. And now bishop to g5, developing the last minor piece and pinning the knight to the queen. b5, kicking the bishop a little bit. But this attempt to push the bishop away and fights this sacrifice of a knight for 2 pawns. And after knight takes b5, c takes b5, and now bishop takes b5 check. And knight to d7 to block the check. And now Morphy castles queenside. And this gets his king out of the middle of the board a little bit closer to the side, and also activates the rook on this nice open file. Rook d8 to help protect the knight. And now at this point, I would just like to take a moment to point something out here. So all of black's pieces are pretty much either pinned or blocked in and not doing anything. Whereas most of white's pieces are pretty active right now. Bishop's pinning, rook's on open files. But the only piece that isn't doing anything is Morphy's rook over here on h1 in the corner. So Morphy finds a way to activate it. Rook takes d7, and then rook takes d7. And rook to d1. Now that rook that was in the corner is now on an open file, and all of Morphy's pieces are active. Now queen to e6, getting out of that pin the bishop was putting on it. But it's really too late for the duke and the count to be able to save themselves at this point. And now bishop takes d7 check. Knight takes d7. And now for a really nice deflection sacrifice. Queen b8 check. Forcing the knight to capture the queen, allowing rook to d8 checkmate. And this is a great finish, I think, because in my opinion it's really cool to see how all of this extra material that black has is completely useless, whereas white only has 2 pieces and they're forcing checkmate. So that's why I really like this game. I really like the way this finish looks. And I hope everyone enjoyed doing this historic chess game. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you learned something from watching this video. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.